Nice. Okay, well, we're going to enter part 2 of Drive Safe. We're going to get into the talk show. And of course, that means that you're going to be watching the second video on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube, or I should say listening to it, because we're not being recorded by a camera. So, anyways, I don't have a script here in front of me, but I'm supposed to advertise this Summer Bash event that's coming soon on August 11th from 4 to 9 p.m. at the Wetmore Park in Sun Prairie. It's being sponsored by, it's being put on by 103.5 The Sun. That's the station that you're listening to. We're going to have food, beer, games. Then we're going to have live music, and I guess it's a fundraiser, it looks like. I'm looking at the little sheet of paper right now. Just kind of, glancing at it, see what I could say. So, yeah. So, anyways, this is part 2. Welcome to the talk show of Drive Safe. And we are with
your co-host and guest star, James Novak, youth pastor here at Madison Calvary Gospel Church. David, actually what I wanted to talk about today is, unfortunately, the tragedy this last Tuesday, I believe on the 10th, that struck downtown Sun Prairie and the Barr family, with the Barr grill here, when a gas line, I believe, was mistakenly hit by a contractor, which caused an explosion, damaging the Barr house and, well, actually really leveling the Barr house and damaging some of the surrounding areas, unfortunately. So what are your thoughts? And obviously our thoughts and prayers go out to the Barr family, but how do you think this is going to affect Sun Prairie?
Well, right now I noticed that traffic is a little bit heavier in that area where the explosion happened, close to the area, because they have a road blocked off. And plus, as far as I know, I think there's like a big hole in the ground now or something like that.
Yes, they are trying to fix the damage that was caused. I know that community action is very strong right now, with GoFundMe set up for the Barr family, as well as donations by private parties outside of Sun Prairie, and even a fundraiser that happened, I believe, today, which you'll be listening to it differently, so it'll be this last week, at Culver's. They had sponsored 50% sales until midnight, I believe, is going to the Barr family.
Yes, yeah, I was actually there today, well, the day that we're recording this. And I was actually on live for a couple of minutes there. Some of you might have saw me. I was in my red, white, and blue shirt, my American flag shirt. Of course, I'm always in that shirt, it seems like. But we interviewed the fire chief. We tried to interview the CEO of Culver's. He was there, but he didn't want to talk. He was like, "Don't you want to say thank you to everybody who's supporting?" He's like, "I'll just let the customers do that." He sounded like a nice guy, though.
Yes. Cody Barr, 34-year-old, was injured and, actually was fortunately killed and injured. Several other people were injured. He lived his life as a hero and he died as a hero, and that's how we're going to remember him. Thoughts and prayers go out to his family and his 2 daughters.
Yeah, it's sad that he had 2 daughters, and now we're not going to have a father. Now, what I believe is that every family needs a mother and a father, and it's going to be a harder life without the father in their life.
Yes. I did not know him personally. I knew he was a volunteer firefighter here in Sun Prairie, but from what I understand, he did not have to go back to the Barr house. I know he wanted to go there to assist his employees and take care of the community at the time. Unfortunately, an ill-timed explosion took his life. So I look up to that man, to put others before himself. That is a very noble, cherished action. So God bless him and his family right now in this time of need.
Yeah, it's a sad thing. Yeah, I mean, when I went into town, at first I thought someone was... when I went in town the day of the explosion, I thought someone's burning trash or something, because it happened before. But then later I find out, after I saw a bunch of police cars and ambulances and fire trucks going around, I heard that, no, there's an explosion. Didn't you feel like? No, I don't. I live out in the country. I don't feel stuff from Sun Prairie, or I don't know much about what's going on. But the weird thing was that day, I recorded my show before the explosion happened, my last week's show, and then I went in town. I was handing out flyers for the event that I advertised just not too long ago, and I went through that intersection where it blew up while the construction workers were there.
Yeah.
Like 5 or 6 times that day. I also went to Glass Nichols Pizza, place that went up in flames, and I gave him a poster to hang up there. It's just weird that, you were there a few hours before the explosion. Now it's not there anymore.
Yeah, tragedy strikes like that. I had literally driven through Sun Prairie that day, right through that intersection. I had just gone, to, I believe, to Sun Prairie Utilities, paid a bill, drove around, drove right through that intersection, right by the bar house, and I was in the shower actually at about 6 o'clock, 6:30, I believe, is when it happened. Just taking a shower, and I heard a boom. I mean, we live about 5 to 6 blocks away, and I'd heard a boom, but it didn't really comprehend because it was, I mean, wasn't loud. And then I got out of the shower, I was on my phone and looking through my Facebook feed, and all of a sudden it's just blowing up with all sorts of messages and things, and I was like, what in the world? And I really didn't know what happened until I saw a picture that a journalist, I believe, had snapped of the edge of the wall of the bar house that had been leveled, which is, I guess it really struck home to me because I knew the area, it was so close. And I always loved the sign that they had set on the side of the bar house. Always had a funny quote or something that, to inspire or just make you laugh. And it really made the bar house very unique. And it's unfortunate.
Whenever I take the bus to school before I graduated, my bus would pass by that bar, and I'd always read the sign there. Sometimes the same sign would be up for a week, but it was always something kind of funny, I thought.
Yep.
Typically, yeah.
Every time. I say this to our youth all the time. I'm sure you've heard it at one time or another, but I don't measure maturity by really what you say or what you do, but I measure it by how you take responsibility for your actions. To me, that is the mark of maturity and growth in an individual, because they have the ability to swallow their pride and take responsibility. And he paid the ultimate price, taking responsibility that really wasn't his. So we honor him for that, and we honor his family for that.
Yeah, because of him, there's only 7 people got injured. There could have been there could have actually been casualties or more casualties than just him, or there could have been more people hurt. But because of him, there was only 7 people who were injured there. And then I think there was, a couple people who got injured from fighting the fire.
Yes, I believe that also is correct. Now, I don't want to make assumptions, of course, but from what I understand, that is the truth so far. So, David, tell me, what is the significance, as you alluded to earlier, of wearing the American flag shirt?
I find it as, it's kind of like I'm proud of this country. I do say it's one of the best countries in the world. And, sure, we have elections and stuff, and I may disagree with whoever's in office, or, I'm not saying what side of, the political spectrum I'm on, but, it doesn't matter who's in office. I think that every person should be proud to be in America, a country where we vote, where we vote for the people we want. Sometimes we don't always get what we want, though, but we have a chance to say, make a stand saying, hey, this is what I want in here in my country. I'm proud to be in here. I mean, I just find it a sign of pride. Plus, I really I don't know why, I just like red, white, and blue and stars and stripes. I wear it like 5 days a week. Okay, no, it's exaggeration. Maybe 3.5 days a week or something on average.
David, I could not agree with you more. I believe if you're going to live in this country, you should be proud to be a member of this country. Now, as you said, all political opinions and stances aside, whoever is in office is in office. I may not like what they do, or I may like what they do, but I've heard it said that America is such a great country that the people who don't even like the leaders here still don't want to leave. I mean, we are very blessed here, one nation under God. We are very strong in this country, and I don't see why you would want to leave. That you should be proud of your nation, proud of the accomplishments that we've done, the rights that we have. I mean, really, what it comes down to is counting your blessings. How can I say this? If you really look at it, you have, eyesight, David. You have ears, you have eyes, your nose, mouth, all 4 limbs, everything works. Every day that I get up, I count my blessings, because, everything that we think that we have can be taken away in just an instant, like happened to the Barr family here recently, and all it takes is one thing to happen. So be thankful for what you have while you have it, because it can be taken away just as fast.
Our days are numbered.
Yeah, absolutely, David. You are 100% correct. Our days are numbered. And what I find is whenever I'm in a bad mood, whenever I'm having a bad day, all I have to do is sit back and go, I am blessed. I look and I see, and things are not as bad as they seem. Because honestly, I read a book recently. It was called, I believe it was titled "The One Thing," and the whole premise of the book was that if you want to be successful in life, you really only have to focus on one thing. Now, you might think, well, that's stupid. There's obviously multiple factors in being successful, but is there really? If I was trying to be, let's say I was trying to run my own company as an electrician, do I really have to have an intimate knowledge of how to bid a job and how to, run a company business-wise and financially and everything else? No, not really. That all comes with different people that you have, being able to delegate those tasks. But if I want to be successful as a business, as an individual, I have to have really only one thing. I have to have a dedication and a love for people. If I can do that, if I can be genuine with an individual and say, yes, I understand what you want, I understand what you need me to do, and I'm going to get it done. If I'm dedicated to that person, and I show that dedication to my team, and I say, this is what they want done, this is what we're going to do, even if it costs me more money to do it right, a person will see that. Because really, as a business, you're not selling, the company, you're selling yourself. So if you're not a wholesome person, then why should anybody invest that time in you? And that's really what this book is entirely about, is just focusing on the one thing that is going to make you successful. Whatever that thing is, whether it's in business or whether it's in relationships or whether it's with your family or whatever you put your mind to, you just have to focus on that one thing, David.
Yeah. Yep. Did you want me to say something?
No, you don't have to. I guess I don't want to ramble and take all of your time.
Oh, no, I actually wanted to ask you some questions.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
About being a youth pastor. What's a youth pastor's nightmare? I should start off with.
Nightmares. Well, that's a hard question, honestly. A youth pastor's nightmare. I'll equate it to this way, because I'm sure some people out there can relate to this as being a parent, because essentially what a youth pastor is being a parent. And what's the worst thing that a parent could have happen to them, David?
Fatality.
Yeah, that would be correct. Is losing a child, and just like that, a youth pastor's worst nightmare is losing a child. Not necessarily in a physical sense, but also in a spiritual sense. Because I look back on my yearbook, and I don't see a single person, really, from my high school. In fact, actually, I've lost quite a few friends, either in suicides or drug overdoses or things, and I'm filled with regret, not really with anything happy, because I see all the people that I've lost and all the people that I could have made a difference in their life, but I never had the chance. And my greatest nightmare is looking back as a youth pastor and going, man, I really wish that so-and-so would have done this, or so-and-so would have taken the time to fix this in their life, or they would have, gone the extra mile to make sure that they were right for themselves. But then you look back at pictures, from last year or 2 years ago or 5 years ago, and maybe out of the 30 students that we had for that year, there's only 5 or 6. And sometimes you look back and you go, well, was that my fault that they left, that they walked away, that they have either killed themselves or have an overdose or something, or was it a personal choice? And it really does come down to everybody is in charge of their own life. They have the personal choice, and we only have enough time to try and invest in people's lives as they will let us. So as far as what your question is, I would say that's our worst nightmare, is watching people throw their life down the drain.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Thank you for telling me that.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely welcome.
Another question is, what is the best part of being a youth pastor?
The best part of being a youth pastor doesn't come till about 10 years down the road.
I know where you're going with this.
You don't see the difference you've made in someone's life in that moment, and you don't see it even in the next couple of years. I mean, we have plenty of youth at our church that you invest time and energy into them, and sometimes they seem like they're doing amazing, and sometimes they seem like they're doing absolutely terrible. But watching them grow up and turn into an adult and seeing the effect that you've had on their lives, I think that's what service is really all about. I mean, Jesus said, that you should put others before yourself. I mean, you should be no respecter of persons. And to see somebody grow, I think that's absolutely the best thing. It just fills my heart with joy.
I know what you mean. Like, later down the road, you'll see that change in them. Probably like for me, like when people try to work in my life when I was living in sin, really bad. The change didn't happen right then and there. Change happened over a process of time. And I know one person in the youth group, I'm not going to say any names. I was kind of annoyed with him and stuff. He'd always bug me. But then, recently in the at senior camp, the camp I talked about in the first show, I saw a change in him that I had never seen before. Where like I've known him for a few years now, and I definitely see a change in this individual for the better. I'm actually very impressed with him with stuff that he's been doing past few weeks now.
Yeah, see, that's not just a youth thing, David. Even in my life, in the last couple of years, I've had to do a lot of growth, a lot of things. I mean, one of my personal flaws is taking correction. And I can freely admit that now. I didn't used to be able to. But when someone would tell me, this is how you have to do something or whatever, in my prideful state of it, well, I can do it better. I know a better way. And being teachable is probably the most single important thing as a young adult could ever have, because it literally makes the difference in your life. It truly does. I mean, I can work with somebody who's underqualified, who doesn't know how to do something, who can't do their job or whatever. But if they are willing to admit, I don't know this and I would love to be taught, if you could show me, I can work with that versus somebody who is qualified, who can do the job good, but they can't be taught. So if the one time they're wrong and you just cannot dissuade them, well, even in a business sense, they turn into a thorn in the business's side. So even in my own life, I've had to do some growing as far as being teachable. And nobody's perfect, and it takes a strong man to admit that.
Yes, it does. Yes. Would you like to, say anything else about, being a youth pastor or something along those lines? I don't know, just any information.
Well, as far as some advice I would give to somebody pursuing the calling of being a youth pastor, well, first off, you should never have a yin without a yang. If you're considering being a youth pastor, you need to have a helpmate. I would say, I don't think it's a requirement necessarily, but I would advise being married.
Well, helpmate, so you mean like a wife or you mean like a support group?
Yes, absolutely. If you can be a youth pastor with a strong team, 100%, because trust me, even as a husband and wife, you still don't have enough time in the day to get everything done. So having a core team with a value system, 100% essential. But I mean, a subpart to that is also having a wife. Because let me tell you this, I may seem like I have it all together at times, but without my wife, I am just a disorganized mess. God bless me with a lovely wife who is everything, excels at everything that I suck at. So I am very glad to have such a lovely woman. And if you're going to be a youth pastor, you have to have a passion for people. You have to want to change your life to help change other people. So I know a lot of youth think that we might have it all together even as adults, but sometimes youth teach us more than they would like to think. So you have to be teachable, you have to have a passion for people, and you have to have people that are willing to help you, because you cannot do it all alone. The Bible says very clearly, woe to the man that tries to think he can do something alone, because when he falls, there's nobody there to pick him back up. It's important. But I would say that's all I'll have to say as far as advice.
Okay. Thank you, James. Thank you for that insight into being a youth pastor and stuff. You are my, I believe that you are my third youth pastor in my life. First one was from Prairie Church before they relocated.
Yep.
And then and then you, or no, not you. And then there was Carl before you,
That's correct.
and then there was you.
And then, David, one day the mantle will be passed.
Yeah. And then I'll be in charge of the little minions.
I don't know if I would call them minions. I would say they're like stocks. They can yield great potential under a watchful eye.
Invest in them and then pray for the best.
Well, not to be biblical connoisseur or anything, but I believe it was when Daniel was carried into captivity, along with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, if that's in the correct pronunciation. They were captured by the Babylonians, and what they did then is they kill all the adults, they kill all the males and females or whatever, but they take the children into captivity so that they can teach them their ways and grow, because that's really how you change a nation. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, but you can teach a child. So if you can teach a child to forget their heritage and to follow your ways, you can change a nation. Just like the way our nation is now, if you can train up our youth to do what is right and to follow a better cause, you will change the course and correction of this nation. So that's really why I do this. It's not just, I want to teach, about God and teach students, but I want to create a better nation. Just like you have pride in your nation by wearing your shirt, I have pride in the people that I work with.
Thank you. Well, I guess that's about all the time we have for today. Thank you, James, for coming in.
Not a problem, David. Are we going to close on a song?
No, I'm sorry, I don't do that. For YouTube purposes, I want to keep my video. I want to keep half of the radio show monetized. The other half gets demonetized because I have copyright music in there.
Gotcha.
So you're listening to 103.5 The Sun Prairie's community radio station. Stay tuned for more local talk, sports, music, and community events. Bye, everybody.